Hey guys again, this is Chicago Ted bringing it right back to you. So after a slight delay, we're going to get right on going into this game.
10 seconds remaining.
So again, this is going to be happening between Orb Walkers and Torque. Now let's bring you right on into this game and we'll get ahead and start going.
Radiant team ban.
Alright, so here we go. So I mentioned the Big Four yesterday and how if they got banned out, I would eat my headset. Well, it looks like I'm eating my headset tonight, as we see the Outer World Devourer, I think the name is now, being banned out for Orb Walkers as well as Io. So at least one of the major four are not being banned out in the first four bans. So I've talked about Io, I've talked about Batrider, and I've talked about Lifestealer and Nyx far too much recently. So I'm just going to leave that up to your interpretation. Banning them out, obvious bans at this point. It looks like two of them are actually leaving. We're going to see the Visage. So Outer World Devourer, looks like Orb Walkers are not letting them have that increased mid presence, and dropping out the Visage pick for Torque means that they're trying to get rid of the defensive tri-lane power that hero does offer. Not many people opting for Visage though, as he's kind of difficult to play. But of course, some of these players could be very good at it. And I haven't seen any of these two teams play, so they know more about each other than I do at this point. So they could be respect bans, or could just be bans that they feel they can't play against, their lineup doesn't suit against, and that's exactly what we like to see. So, Torque, not missing the chance to pick the two heroes that escaped the Big Four. They're picking up the Nyx Assassin and the Lifestealer. So, I talked about what these heroes are going to do if they get banned out. Well, let's talk about what happens if they get picked. So, first of all, Nyx Assassin. A pain in the... A pain in the ancient. Really. He's a little bug with a great stun, mana burn, a spell that can stun you if you attack him, and he can go invisible.
Radiant team ban.
It's insane, this hero. And once he hits his level 6, he turns into a ganking monster. Lifestealer. Well, getting off the ground for Lifestealer is kind of difficult. But once he maxes out that lifesteal, that stacks so hard in the late game, as it's based off of your the health of the opponent that you're attacking. So, in all honesty, he's a great hero that gets off the ground kind of early, not at the beginning. He's still easy to gank until he gets his rage up, and doesn't really get many kills until he gets open wounds maxed out, as it has little to no range underneath level 4. But still, getting off the ground once he gets those spells up, and then never really touching back down until late game, when you've got heroes like Spectre or Anti-Mage that can just walk right around him. So, I've talked enough about those guys. Let's take a look at Orb Walker's lineup thus far. We see the Darkseer and the Rubik. Darkseer, another hero I've talked about a lot. A great teamfight control. Does very well versus melee heroes, but Lifestealer's Rage is going to help him out a little bit versus the Ion Shield damage. Wall of Replicate turns any enemy carry that's doing a lot of damage to your team into an enemy carry illusion that turns around and deals a lot of damage to their team. So picture a tiny dishing out 300 damage, going into a wall, and then getting the, what is it, 125% damage leveled up plus Ags? That's monstrous. That's absolutely monstrous. Get a Dazzle, pop Shallow Grave on him, if that still works, and you've got practically a 6-hero on your team. Alright, so Nature's Prophet and Invoker banned out, coming from Orb Walkers, so that reduces a little bit of map presence, banning out Nature's Prophet and the Wisp as well. And the Invoker, just an old... Looks like actually they're banning out some conventional mid heroes. So they might be trying to run a weaker mid hero, maybe a Dragon Knight or something like that, that usually will not win up against these really strong mid dominators.
10 seconds remaining.
And with the Queen of Pain and the Batrider banned out coming from Torque, it seems like there's not a lot of options for a very decent mid. Of course, you could run the Nyx Assassin mid, you could run the Gyrocopter mid, hell, you could even run the Rubik mid, but all in all, they're losing options, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what they decide to go with as time goes on. Jakiro coming out for Orb Walker. Rubik into Jakiro makes for a really strong safe lane tri-lane with the Darkseer in the natural off-lane position. So they're free to pick whatever real carry they want. And I imagine they're going to have to go with something like a heavy late-game carry as, again, against that Lifestealer, you need late game. You need to go really late game because he's a very early game dominating hero. Or, well, early mid to late mid dominating hero. And will stack up against most carries that fall off a little bit. Gyrocopter, another carry that can go fairly late game. In fact, Gyro going more so late game than possibly even the Lifestealer if you get the right items built on him. And that combo, in and of itself, you got the Lifestealer carrying until the Gyrocopter gets off the ground with maybe a few Divine Rapiers, 1 or 2, you know, 3 if you're truly balling, and your supports are not only going to die in a few seconds, but if he's got lifesteal, he's never going to die. Couple that with a BKB, and you got a recipe for disaster. Lina being picked out. So, looks like Torque. If I were to guess anything on their lanes, I would say Nyx mid, Lifestealer off lane, Gyrocopter sitting in the safe lane with a tri-lane. But you could go Gyrocopter in the mid, Nyx Assassin in the off lane, and drop Lifestealer in the safe lane tri-lane. Or you can put Lifestealer in the jungle, Nyx Assassin in the off lane, Gyrocopter in the safe lane, Lina going mid, and then you can pick another safe lane hero. You can go many different ways with this, and it's really up to them. How they're going to do this, what they're going to do with it. So, we're just going to have to wait and see how Orb Walkers react to this pick. They can't right now as Torque have an incredibly flexible lineup, so guessing what the lanes are going to be is going to be kind of difficult. All they can do right now is try to counter the playstyle that Torque is probably going to go for. And with the Luna, they're going to do that fairly well. Luna, a very nice late game carry, but kind of stacks up almost equally to the Lifestealer, where she gets really powerful with her glaives, but there's a limit really with her, and it starts capping around where Lifestealer caps. Now the plateau might last a little bit longer, a tiny bit longer than what Lifestealers last, but still, it's going to last around the same amount of time. They are avoiding the heavy HP heroes though, which is not going to give Lifesteal a lot of options to maintain his health later on in the game, but it's just going to happen the way it happens, really. And as of right now, I'm liking Torque's lineup. They've got all the bases covered right now, and depending on what their last hero is, which will probably give us a clear outline of what their lanes are going to be,
Dire team ban.
We'll see what they do. And they're banning out the Dragon Knight. I actually think they'd want a hero like Dragon Knight. Actually, no. They do not want to fight a hero like Dragon Knight, because Dragon Knight has an insane amount of armor. And the one thing you do not want to fight as a Lifestealer, who basically depends on his damage and life sap to stay alive, is armor. So, now that I think about it, the Visage ban makes sense too. But, all that aside, Storm Spirit being banned out from Orb Walker, so that's a total of 3 potential conventional mid-heroes being banned out from them, so I wonder if they're going to try running the Rubik mid, and try to get those less conventional mid-heroes to go up against. Rubik, an actually underrated mid-hero. He can be very powerful with Fade Bolt, Telekinesis, protect himself from ganks, as well as dish out a lot of damage. And once he hits 6, you can't be safe, because if you use a spell on him, and it doesn't kill him, you can bet that that spell is going to be used on you, and it's probably going to kill you. Just probably. So as it stands right now, with a Rubik, Jakiro, Luna mid, all 3 ranged heroes, all 3 are going to benefit from that Lunar Blessing. If she decides to level that up early, she doesn't really need to go into Lucent Beam that much, because they do have a ton of DPS from their abilities in and of itself. If they are up against a Lifestealer, it could be a little bit of an issue, but If she goes pure damage into glaives, and they telekinesis and stun out 2 guys right next to each other, there's a lot of damage that can come out. Reading the Twitch chat, again, it's 2 minutes behind, so it's not going to be really up to date. And you guys can tell me when you're hearing this right now, as it'll help me gauge whether or not it's actually 2 minutes. But looks like Pearbear is going to put his money on an aggressive tri-lane top with Nyx Lifestealer +1, a Gyro solo safe. I'm guessing Nyx Lifestealer and Sand King, which makes sense. A Gyro solo and a Nyx solo mid. So, you know, that actually makes sense. Anyway, aside from that, we'll just have to wait and see for ourselves. So let's go ahead and introduce our players right now. We got Scaff on the Darkseer, Have No Pity playing the Juggernaut, Phyla on the Luna, Rubik being played by stand-in Mr. Ride, Duxie on the Jakiro. And I didn't note this this Juggernaut pick, but I actually kind of like it. It gives them 2 options to give great mid to late game carries. Both of them fall off. I think Luna lasts a little bit longer than the Juggernaut does, but both of them really, really good in terms of carrying, and they're going to do pretty well against this Lifestealer. We can only hope, or they can only hope, rather. So, over on Torque, the clever R times F, we got Wobu playing the Sand King, Mr. ABC playing the Nyx, Brocrates, or Brocrates, I guess I could pronounce the name, being played, playing the Nyx, the Lifestealer, Nyx, ridiculously tiny phallic object. I could just say it because he's dropping the courier right now and doesn't deserve to be censored. Ridiculously tiny penis playing the Lena, and Fire Blood Wolf on the Gyrocopter. So now that I look at it right now, it's looking like this team has got either all legs or no legs. You got both Lena and Gyrocopter flying, and then you got Nyx and Mr. Sand King here, both walking on 6 legs, and Brocrates walking on all 4. So they're obviously winning in the leg department, making up for the lack of legs on Lena and Gyro, but we'll just have to wait and see how that factors in. And it looks like a lot of aggression that's going to come out on mid. 4 heroes, but they're spotted quite early, and they're not able to go quite in on her. She backs off, and they don't net a kill. So very good awareness by the Luna. And I can assure you guys right now that there is a 2-minute delay on the stream. So if all you conspiracy theorists, you got nothing on me right now, alright? You got nothing on me. So, looking like Luna's going to live another day, and she's going to be playing on in this mid with Juggernaut, Rubik, and Jakiro going to be playing the defensive tri-lane against the offensiveness coming from Brocrates, Ridiculously Tiny P, and Wabu. If someone's got a way to pronounce this name, let me know, because I feel like I'm butchering it. Juggernaut feeling quite confident, as he should be. He's got really great abilities, and like the Lifestealer, he has a way to get himself out with magic immunity. So, avoiding out stuns. And I'm not going to make the same mistake this time. Looks like we are going to have the CS chart up. And let's take a look at this offlane. We got Darkseer versus a Gyrocopter. So I'm liking where Gyrocopter stands in this offlane. He's going to be able to avoid out that the Ion Shell quite well. He does have a small melee range, or attack range. He's going to get a Rocket Barrage and drop Scaff down to half health. But again, being ranged, he can avoid out that Ion Shell damage, which is going to really help him in the long run. Especially if he picks up boots, he's not going to have to worry about taking too much damage from that. Nyx Assassin beating out the Luna in CS, despite her having Luna Blessing, which should technically help her out with a ton of damage output, but she's afraid to hit a Lucent Beam and try to harass the Nyx, because the Nyx has greater reaction time. One little spiked Carapace, and she's taking all that damage right on back, plus a stun. So, it looks like Torque going for an aggressive ward in the lane, despite the ability to pull the camp, and they're looking to just contest the pulls. They've got a really offensive tri-lane, so they can really focus on contesting rather than blocking. They want Dire, they want Orb Walkers to go in and pull the camp, so that they can go in and try to net a few kills by trying to contest the camp. Maybe picking off the Rubik in the process, but they do have the Sentry Ward. which I guess they would have been able to use G-Ward, but it does have a little bit of vision on its own, so they can see any heroes that walk up in this direction. It looks like Lena gonna try to do just that. Rubik isn't taking the stack, and the courier coming in with wards. So right now, not too much aggression. These tri-lanes can't do a lot against each other right now. They're kind of baiting out, waiting for one to make a mistake over the other. Because once that happens, you can bet that a few stuns are going to fly, some magic damage is going to happen, and someone's going to get first blood. Unless, you know, Gyro gets in the off lane, but I seriously doubt the 1v1 is going to get the first blood. Nick's doing a little bit of damage to the tower, and as I said, these guys are going to be right there to try to contest the pull. A great rage out from the Lifestealer as he dodges out the Ice Path, and he's going to walk away. Wabu and Ridiculously Tiny Penis just contesting the pull as they see fit. And they're going to get a little bit of XP from that, maybe a little bit of gold. All three are going to rotate in, giving Naix fairly good free farm. And it looks like they're going to catch him out both with an Ice Path. A Telekinesis coming out on the Sand King, but the stun, the Light Strike Array coming out from the Luna. But they're going to get forced off with the Blade Fury. And going to get slowed up by the Dual Breath. Another Light Strike Array, beautifully done. And Naix coming right on in. If he can get the open wounds, they can do a little bit of damage. The Healing Ward, though, coming out, and he's going to walk away. I'm not sure if the Healing Ward gives you gold at this point in the game, but if it does, Naix picking up a little bit of a bounty there. And he's got 1,000 gold at 4 minutes, which is going to net an early battle, an early hand of Midas if he decides to go that direction. Luna last sitting under her own tier 1. If any time were to harass, it'd be now. Especially if she's sitting up on the high ground and Nyx is down here, which is happening right now. She can drop the Lucent Beam and not have to worry about the Spike Carapace. Nyx does not have any wards up on the high ground. Looks like Juggernaut pushing the wave all the way back to Radiant's tier 1. And this is exactly what Torque want. Brockity is going to be able to get some great farm up from this. Nyx got his double damage rune. Healing Ward, I guess I was wrong. It gives no bounty at all levels, so Lifestealer not going to really walk away from much there. And 3 heroes rotating in mid. They're going to go on Nyx, but the Spike Carapace is stunning out a little bit. But the Eclipse is going to drop, and it's going to get the hit on after the stun. Nyx Assassin trying to get that extra kill off on Stin and Ride. But all in all, a great gank. 2 heroes rotated in for Orb Walkers. Get the ward up on the high ground, and Torque is going to take an early deficit in this game. Orb Walker's kind of really happy with that. Darkseer picking up his Soul Ring, going to allow him to drop more Ion Shells. More Ion Shells mean more damage, and more damage mean the waves pushes a lot more, giving Gyro a little bit safer farm. And we see next, he teleports up, he pops his double damage rune, and then he goes invisible. This could be disastrous for Have No Pity, but he's walking right on top of us. No, the Sentry Ward is not there. He could take out Rubik in 1 hit. He's going to drop it. No, he's going on the Jakiro. Look at that damage. Instantly goes down. The Jakiro falls quite fast. 1 hit coming out of the invisibility. The Impale. And that's quite dead Jakiro. Evening up the score. 1-1. Let's take a quick look at hero level. Gyro sitting on top with Luna close behind. Looks like the offensive tri-lane trying to get a little bit more offensive. The Jakiro isn't there to set up the stun or have much of a follow-up. Meanwhile, Nyx netting a double kill as he goes in mid, dies under tower with the double damage rune. Still barely there. Has the haste rune on top of that to stack it up. And he's going to go ahead and bring that to a score of 2-1. Now in the favor of Torque. And Gyro just doing his best to CS, out CS the enemy team, and he's doing a very good job. Gyro and Nyx both sitting on top, while Juggernaut, the guy who's supposed to be farming on Dire team, only sitting at 6 last hits. 7 now with that 1 secured. A Nyx with 2 runes is devastating, and we see that. You're sitting in the high ground, Nyx is sitting in the low ground. If he can't see you, go ahead and charge up that Lucid Beam, you can drop a free one on him. Of course, when you're sitting right there, as we just saw, you drop the Lucid Beam, it's going to stun you. So right now, both teams have gone back to just staring at each other. There is a very defensive ward being placed by Orb Walkers. just so that that doesn't happen. But again, if they had the sentry ward right there, they would have seen the Nyx. I don't expect too many teams to just place a random sentry there, though, and they paid for it, especially with a Nyx on the field. 6 minutes is when you want to get that sentry ward out, and you want to start being really defensive, because that Nyx is going to start ganking. Mid's usually averaging about 5 to 6 minutes for their level 6, and that's that. You know Nyx is going for it. No calls about him missing either, which I don't know if they did call it, but if they didn't, they're sitting way too high. They were sitting way too extended. Kiro bidding alone, and the telekinesis, the ice pass is early, and not enough magic damage going to come out in this life stealer. He's going to walk right away. A little bit of damage coming on the Sand King though, and just as that happens, it looks like Nyx Assassin gonna pick off the Luna, but Luna turning it right around on the Nyx Assassin. A lot of action happening mid from two heroes that you expect the action from, but wow. Just wow. Luna getting the better deal from that, actually. She picked up the kill second, so she got the gold back. Might not have lost that much unreliable, and took out the killing spree. In fact, see if we can take a look at that. Yeah, she gets 365 gold, whereas Nyx only gets 272, so a little bit better of a trade for the Luna in that fight. Obviously, both going down, and neither really beneficial to their team. But we can go ahead and take a quick look at the gold and XP graphs, and they're both sitting at the advantage of Torque. And they do have the kill advantage right now, so despite Orb Walkers getting first blood, looks like Torque gonna pull it right back on into the advantage and really try to pull this game together from that point on. The Sentry Ward does come out, but it looks like he's really trying to just D-ward with that. It's gonna help though versus the Nyx, and it looks like another bit of aggressioning happening mid. Mana Bird coming out but not getting a kill. Figures the one time I go mid, the kill does not happen. And they're gonna go back in it. Lucid Beam being dropped on Nyx, but to no avail.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And Jakiro pointing out that the ward has been, the pull has been blocked. This ward does block the pull. So they're bringing in Sentry Wards, it looks like? No, they're bringing in Smoke. And Lifestealer picking up his hand to Midas. And he's going to start farming the jungle. Telekinesis out on the Sand King, into the Ice Path. And that's going to be a quick kill. As Luna dies in the mid lane again, and Nyx coming up top. Doesn't have his invis for 50 seconds. To use that probably to take out the Luna. But really making a trade right there, as Luna going down, but at the same time, Torque picks up another kill. Orb Walkers, rather, picks up another kill. So doing their best to stay on in this game despite having a kill disadvantage going on. So taking another quick look at the graphs, and they're still hanging on an advantage on Torque, and it's going to stay that way for quite a while. Orb Walkers, gotta get that farm on the Juggernaut, who's sitting at 16 CS, being tripled up by the Gyrocopter, who's on the bottom lane. And not even the Darkseer can beat the Gyrocopter, despite having the Ion Shell to really net a lot of last hits. Rubik rotating in mid lane to try to protect out this Luna. Some good reactions, actually, as Orb Walkers know that this Luna is going to take a lot of aggression mid from this Nyx, and giving up 2 or 3 kills already is going to mean this Nyx is pretty farm. Sitting at level 11, he's going to go right in. The Rubik is not there. Let's see if he goes in. He does go in. Has the health in the Impale. Mana Bird, 1 hit, and that's another dead Luna. Where are the Sentry Wards? A Sentry Ward right there, a Sentry Ward right there would mean all the difference to this Luna, but going down again. And that's Arcane Boots from Mr. ABC. Who I noted in the cast name that it was Mr. ABC versus Orb Walkers. I just learned that this was another issue. The scheduling for the Reddit Dota 2 League, sometimes the teams are announced by name of the captain, and the team is actually Torque, not Mr. ABC. But the call down coming down on Scaff into the Impale, and the call down finishes it off. Nyx giving Gyro the kill because he's already got 3. It looks like Nyx able to have more than have most of these heroes with his pure burst damage from the initial hit, into the Impale, and he's going to go back in mid. They don't have the Sentry Ward up just yet. And these heroes are a little under-leveled compared to the Luna. And that's more than half health out on Ride. He's going to go down rather fast with Nyx. You see why he's banned out in these games. He's already on a killing spree. And it looks like I said that in all chat. I'm sorry, but yeah, this is a best of 2 despite being, despite what the chat's thinking. So, right now, Torque are looking pretty strong, and Orbwalker's got to make a few good decisions, and it looks like Luna going to start off with that, getting the Lucent Beam off and doing a little bit of damage to this Gyrocopter. She could actually drop the Eclipse if she wanted to. It's going to be divided between 3 heroes, which is going to mean that at least one of those is going to hit the Gyrocopter. And that plenty of damage, and one of the Eclipse procs, plus a spare Lucent Beam, and that's going down the Gyrocopter. But as it happens, the Sentry Ward going down. It looks like the Spike Carapace is going to save him out. The Ice Path off the mark, and Nyx is going to walk away. No, he's going to come right back in Invis, but they do have the Sentry Ward to spot him out. He's going to be right back, and they ping it out. The Rubik and the Crosshairs. They don't have another Sentry Ward to spot him out. And Rubik running for dear life. Run, Rubik, run. Are you going to make it? No, he's not. The Nyx is going to find him. And let's just see how much it does. Quick pop. More than half. And the stun is all it needs. Nyx going to take him out. Take him downtown. And 4 heroes up top. This tower is going down. Luna doing what she can in the bottom lane, but still, Luna sitting more than or about 16 last hits. Not about, she is sitting 16 last hits underneath the Lifestealer, and Juggernaut is less than 1/3. And Nyx has picked up his Dagon 1 by 15 minutes. Plenty of damage control is going to have to come out from Warwalkers. They want to pull this game back together, but still. They do have a better late game, and they can still pull this together if they really want to. The Ice Path coming out, but the Spike Carapace is going to stun him out as well, and the Impale not going to be enough to really do any damage.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And it looks like chat's calling it, but I don't know. They have a good early game. They have a strong late, they're against a strong late game. If they can drag this out, if they can turtle it out, at the tier 3s, they could take this game. They could very well take this game. It's got to be a few smart decisions and really catching out the Nyx when he goes in. I'm going to go ahead and turn off spectator chat right now, guys. Looks like I can't for some reason. Luna going down to the Gyrocopter bottom lane. That's exactly what they don't need. Exactly what they don't need. And now 1,140 damage, enough to pretty much kill any hero on this opposing team. They gotta be careful of that Nyx Assassin. And Scaff being taken out with the stun from the Sand King. But they're gonna turn it right around on the Lifestealer. And net themselves another kill. And a very high priority kill right now is the Lifestealer, the one hero you don't want to go down. Actually, no. The Nyx Assassin and the Gyrocopter are the heroes you don't want to go down. The Lifestealer, not going to net too much XP. And looks like didn't net too much gold, so can afford that. Lifestealer not going to be carrying this game if the Nyx is able to end it soon. They do have the Sentry Ward, though, placed right down mid. If they see the Nyx behind, they can surely take him out. A 4v1 is just enough to really kill him. The Lucent Beam dropping on the Luna, doing plenty of damage. And the Nyx gonna avoid out that Sentry Ward. Does he go for a hero, or does he go for the Courier? No, he goes for the Darkseer. And the Darkseer taking way too much damage with the Ice Path. Coming out, Spike Carapace doing plenty of damage with the call down. Taking them all down really low and is able to finish off 3, finish off 4. It's a killing spree. Double kill for both the Lina and Fireblood. And they're going to finish it off on the Rubik. Mr. ABC picking up a mega kill. It's a 5-man team wipe. 14-5 in favor of Torque. And Orbwalker digging themselves deeper and deeper into a trench. We see 7,500 in both gold and XP and constantly climbing.
Dire's middle tower
Trying to turn off Steam chat. Looks like I have a little pop-up there that Didn't mean to happen. But you know what? We'll roll with it. So tier 2 on the ropes right now, as it could go down, it could not. Right now, Torque are pretty much controlling this game. If they want to take a tier 2, they're going to take a tier 2. If they want to go for Roshan, they're going to go for Roshan. If they want to do anything on this map right now, they have pretty much full leeway to do it. And Nyx got Invis, got Haste. Who's going to go for it? He's going to go for the Juggernaut. And with the Dagon, the Mana Burn, doing plenty of damage despite Carapace, keeping him safe. And the Lucid Beam. He's going to get away too fast. They're not able to take him out. Nyx netting a kill on one of the highest priority heroes on Orb Walkers. And getting away. A little bit of trash talk coming in from the spectator chat. Bagging on Orb Walker's team lineup right now. Guys, I think they got a little outdrafted in this. Because, I mean, looking at their lineup, they got strong, aggressive tri-lane, but they didn't run it. Running the Juggernaut instead, and the Juggernaut not being aggressive enough. I think the Luna would have done a little bit better in that tri-lane as of right now. And, of course, hindsight is 20/20, and you can't really be sure until you see it. But with an incredibly aggressive tri-lane like that in the defensive position, they should have tried to net more kills. And because they didn't, they went down in the advantage to Torque, who won the mid lane and held their own in the bottom lane with a gyro, netting top CS until Lifestealer picked it up. And Rubik taking out the Nyx Assassin. Looks like with everything dropped, the Nyx Assassin goes down, but they still pick up the Luna. So they took out Ice Path, they took Dual Breath. Looks like they used their Omni Slash and the Wall of Replica. And they got 2. So not a bad pickup for them. 2 for 1 is not too much trouble for Orb Walkers as they try to scratch themselves back into this game. But the key of this game right now is going to be Sentry Wards. Sentry Wards absolutely everywhere. And we see how that Sentry Ward here really helped them pick up the Nyx Assassin. If they can keep on top of the Sentry Ward, get a dust, you know, even a gem at this point. When you're down this much, you pick up a gem, you got nothing to lose. Pick up a gem, pick up a Divine Rapier, guys. Let's do it. And in all seriousness, I'm completely joking. Don't actually take my advice, but at this point, what can you do? When you're Orb Walkers, what can you do? And they're doing as best they can right now. The Luna trying to pick up her CS, farming up lanes, got 1 level in the glaives, and is gonna try to pick this game back up where they want it to be. And they're gonna catch out the Gyrocopter, a telekinesis into a Lucid Beam. They're gonna get the telekinesis, the Lucid Beam gonna drop, and they're all gonna be there. The call down though, defensively going down and taking the Rubik down pretty low, but they do have a mech out, helping themselves back up. And I thought that was an Invis ward. It looked like Rubik had the Vendetta. And speaking of Vendetta, Nyx is in. Is he going to try to go for another 4-man? Doesn't look like Dire have any Sentry Wards on them right now. No, Jakiro has it. They can pick it up if they want to. 2 heroes rotating in. The Sentry Ward going down for the Jakiro. Nyx can't see it, but they can see Nyx. They can see the Nyx. And I think he knew it. I think a creep tried to attack him, and he knew that they could see him. So he's going to back right on out of there. Tier 1 bottom might go down, though, in the wake. And Nyx going right behind. Could snipe off a courier if he wants to, but doesn't. Ice Path going down. Lina going to try to deny the tower instead. Sand King gets the deny. And that's 100 gold to the Dire team. Not as much as it could be, but at this point, you can't ask for much more. Nyx still sitting behind. A little late for that courier. He has a Gem of True Sight. So yes, he could see that ward, but it looks like Rubik got the Vendetta. And Nyx might go on the Jakiro. But with the Rubik and Vendetta. No, Rubik had the gem and he saw the Rubik. Nyx doing great, and they stun out the Juggernaut. He gets counter, he gets Shades done, and before he can get his Blade Fury off, the ulti coming out, and then the Dagon from the Nyx, making it a 1-2 punch. Lightning, Dagon. Too much. The wall almost taking out the Lina, but getting away just barely. So losing 3 in that. Jug went down without using any spells. They chained him up really hard. If he was able to get his Blade Fury off just in time, he might have been able to get dodge that Laguna Blade. But instead, he got taken down. Even an Omni Slash, but didn't have the mana, didn't have the time. And Gyro's gonna pick up his Ancient stack. So constantly just this game being controlled so hard by Torque right now. As you're seeing 10k, 15k in XP right now. Greater than 15k and sitting right at 10k in gold. And it looks like they're going to go in top and the Dagon and the Impale and all that being used. Vendetta enough. They're going to take out the Luna. They're going to take out the Juggernaut. Rubik doing what he can, but Vendetta's already back up. The stun actually saving him for a little bit more, but the Vendetta is enough to kill him. Instead, they kill him enough with the Lifestealer. And the Vendetta being used on the Darkseer. Impale not doing quite enough. Darkseer, one of the more tanky heroes on the Dire team right now. Picking up 2 for nothing, 3 for nothing. And that's the name of the game right now. This Nyx is so huge that he can pick up a few, and he's only going to get bigger as Dagons keep flying out. Peeking at Dagon 5, but at this point, they're really struggling. The Nyx has the Armament of Mordigian. He has his Phase Boots. He's going to be a monster. Nyx giving him plenty of room to get what he needs out. And right now, I think they're playing a bit passively for my taste. They could end this game right now if they wanted to. Maybe one more Dagon up and it'd be done. But instead, they're going to go and try to go for the... try to keep farming it up. And just like that, 5-man smoke. Coming out from, Orb Walkers. This is a last-ditch attempt. Trying to bait the Luna. They don't have Sentry Wards placed down, but the Nyx can smell a Sentry Ward from a mile away with his gem. And they could pick up the Sand King. They spot him out. The Blade Fury coming out. The Invis for him, but it's not enough. The Vacuum pulling him into the Blade Fury, and the Nyx sitting behind. They're not placing down the Sentry Wards. They'd be smart to place one down right now. No, they have it on the high ground. They're going to see him. And he's going to see the Sentry Ward. Telekinesis being used on Lina. They're going to spot her up with a call down. Being dropped, and the Nyx going to try to go in. In fact, he's going to get the Vendetta out on the Darkseer. They're going to take him down. The Jakiro going down as well. A lot of auto attack damage coming out of the Juggernaut, and he can't do anything. The BKB up on the Gyrocopter going to block out all of that damage. And he's going to try to walk away. Got the teleport. The stun isn't out. Is the damage going to be enough? No, he gets the teleport. It's a bit of a Pyrrhic victory. Nyx still chasing the Luna with another Haste Rune. What is it with these runes? He's going to get a few attacks. The Impale, Vendetta, another Impale. And that's enough. Luna actually dropping the Lucent theme onto the spiked Carapace is going to be what takes her down. 25 and 10. And let's just take a look at this again. How do you come back from this? How do you come back from this? At this point, I don't know. I'm feeling really bad for Orb Walkers. I think they should call the GG. Save themselves the issue, the morale dump, and go next game. I hate saying that, guys. I hate saying that. It's not me. I hate calling GG early. But you're down 15 kills. You're down 20k experience, it looked like. You're down almost 15k gold. Just call it. Cut your losses and call it. Try to avoid the next pick. I've seen crazier comebacks. I agree with you, Droid Organs. It's all up to you, man. It's the preference of the player, and that's why they're not doing it. It's their choice. They're going to go on this Nyx, and this is going to be an easy pickup. The Rage coming out, but he instead walks back. No, he's going to Armlet Toggle, and he might take out the Rubik. No, he's going to walk away. He's got plenty of Armlet Toggles to go, and he's not going to get it off in time. They're going to take him out. 419 gold going the way of the Jakiro. So pulling themselves a little bit back into this game. Take a look at the profile. It's only level 16 on the Lifestealer, so not too big of a kill on them. Let's take a look at net worth. Let's take a look. Just keep it on this for a while. Unless, if you want me to go back to CS, just say the word and I'll go right on back. But We're just looking at these XP graphs. Right now, I'm surprised Torek isn't pushing. They're getting picked off. If there's one way to lose a game like this, if there's one way to throw, it's getting picked off like that. If you constantly get picked off, let the Knicks fall off, get like have a pipe come out on the enemy team, and I mean, you're giving them a chance that you don't want to give. Knicks can easily pick up his Dagon 4 right now. Easily. Instead of sitting at 3k gold, what's he going to go for? I'm kind of worried with what he's going to do with this 3k gold. I'm really worried. Sitting in spawn right now. Let's keep an eye on him as we see what he picks up. And we'll see it in the sidebar if it comes up. Looks like a smoke. Going to come out of the jungle. Nyx picks up a blink dagger. If there's a way to put a dagger into her heart right now, the blink dagger is it. And they're going to try to go into the jungle, try to catch someone out. But there's no one in there right now. At most, they're going to try to catch up the lifestealer. No, they see the Nyx in the bottom lane. They're going to go in on him. The Nyx has a TP scroll. He'd be smart to use it. But they don't. They're instead going to go in on the lifestealer and the Lina, the Juggernaut, on the high ground still. They know he's there, and they're going to go in. The Ice Path coming down, the Rage, not out, the Vacuum into the Rage, and the Blade Fury doing plenty of damage. There is no Rage. Where is it? It finally comes out, but is it too late? Armlet toggling to get himself out of there. It looks like the Nyx. No, the Gyrocopter sitting really close in. The Sand King coming in. Going to try to charge up his epicenter to turn this around. Instead, they're going to back right off. So they did not pick up the Lifestealer. Sitting really low on HP, but some good Armlet toggle coming out from him. They weren't able to burst him down despite being able to chain stun him down. Not popping the Rage when he walked right into the Ice Path right here. If you notice that. He was standing right here. Walked in to the Ice Path. And didn't get anything. Nyx. Sitting on the top lane. He's got Vendetta up to try to avoid the sentry that they have, observer they have defensively placed. He's going to go around. Make sure the Luna can't escape. No. He's going mid lane. Looks like two are rotating in mid lane. They might have seen him with the vision from the sentry ward. Yep, the pings are coming out. They know he's there. And they might still go on this Luna. Juggernaut waiting off to the sidelines. Darkseer and Jakira mid. Why isn't Torque pushing? Group of his 5 push down mid. You've got call down. You've got a Lifestealer who can invest and come out at any point from an Invis to Vendetta Nyx. You've got so much AoE damage potential to nuke them down. Instead, you're letting them take up. They already have a mech right now, so you're going to be able to avoid out a lot of that damage. Juggernaut almost finishing up what looks to be a Sange. And the pings are coming out bottom lane. Tier 2s still not down, despite being at this much of a disadvantage. We're seeing the XP graph plateauing almost completely right now as both teams are keeping up with each other. They're both getting equal XP, and right now, Dire is the one to benefit from it. Dire Structures, their bottom tier 1, guys. Their bottom tier 1 is under fire. They're going to trade tier 2s at more than 20k down. And they've got an insanely good base pushing lineup. They're going to be able to take it down a little bit faster. They're trading a tier 2, guys. They're trading a tier 2. Are they going to go for the base race? The Luna, quite capable of going for a base race if she wanted to. Instead, the TP's coming back. The Darkseer coming back on in. The Impale's going to miss. And they're going to go for this tower. The Flat Cannon doing plenty of damage right now. So Demon Edge did get picked up. And the beautiful vacuum in. Pulling in 4, but they don't have the follow up. Luna getting impaled out. It looks like all 5 are here. Call down is off cooldown. Lifestealer does have his infest. Sand King still not picking up a blink, but we're gonna see it up rather soon. A blink, epicenter, infest into a call down is enough to take down the team. They're gonna go for Roshan. Pings are coming out. Instead, Lifestealer picking out the Jakiro. Way out of position. His entire team's back behind tier 2. And Jakiro's up ahead. All the pings coming out. Can't tell which team is. They both have light blue. A very similar light blue. And they're going to smoke into Roche. Dior the ward. Are they going in? No, they're not going in. I honestly think that Radiant or Dire could win a Roche fight if they get smart maneuvers, able to pick off the Sand King before he gets his epicenter off. You pick off the Nyx before he's able to do too much damage, and Nyx blinking in and pale on the Luna. Vendetta, she's taking a lot of damage with the mechanism. Gonna keep her up for a little bit. They might take out the Nyx as a vacuum, pulls him right back in, and the telekinesis, but no, they take out the Rubik quite fast, and the Blade Fury doing plenty of damage, but the BKB coming out from the Gyrocopter, and they're gonna take off the Darkseer as well. Jakiro falling again. Juggernaut, only one to stay alive. They should push Rax. Push Rax right now. Do it. Infest coming out. He isn't even needed in that fight. Just healing himself back up. They're taking down this tier 2. You know, the base race look kind of good right now. It's Dire mid tier 3. Going under fire. And they got plenty of time to go in for a Rax. No glyph is available for the Dire. Orb Walker's in a little bit of trouble right now. Juggernaut can do little but watch as his base falls. He does have a Sange and Yasha, so did pick up the Sange and picked up a very quick Yasha, but Assault Cuirass and the Lifesteal are keeping him very tanky, plus the Lifesteal. Gyrocopter almost finished up the MKB if he wants to. He can even go for Divine Rapier. He's sitting on 4,200 gold. Instead picks up the MKB. He's no fun, but he's smart. Dagon 5, as you saw, came out for the Nyx. And tier 4s are exposed. Come on, guys. Group up mid. Push down. Nyx is peaked. Nyx has completely peaked right now. If they need to push and win. Because if they don't push and win, if they fail to push and win, then Orb Walkers still have a chance. I'm looking at it now. It doesn't make sense. I don't think they do have a chance. But again, anything can happen in a game of Dota. Anything can happen. 3K, 30K golden XP advantage. Anything can happen. Nyx gonna put the nail in the coffin right here. Monster kill, 600 damage out on the Luna. Getting completely caught out. And another haste rune. What is this, guys? 4th haste rune, 5th haste rune. They're gonna go for Roche. They're going for Roche, guys. They could end it right now. They're going for Roche. Orb Walkers, when you see this Roche fall, call the GG, dude. Call it. There's not much you can do. And I mean, looking back at this game, what they could have done is they could have had better Sentry Ward support to shut down the Nyx Assassin, be more aggressive on the top lane, and maybe would have netted more kills, gotten a higher advantage in the game. Because they did pick up First Blood. If they had gone off of that, if they had really focused on that, and remember, the First Blood was on Nyx. So, I don't know what they were thinking. Press your advantage, do everything you can early game versus this lineup, and you've got the late game to back it up. And they just didn't do that. So Maelstrom out on the Lifestealer. They're going to go in for top tier 1. Ping's coming out. Not quite sure what they can do. A team wipe right here might be really good, though, if they can pull it off. But as we've seen in past fights, they don't have the capability. And they're going to go right on in. Luna coming in. Wall of Replica. Pulling out the Lifestealer. Nyx actually getting a kill on the Luna. What's the Luna doing in the bottom lane? Darkseer going down to call down. Jakiro going down to just damage. It looks like Juggernaut gonna barely get on out of there. Or Rubik falling. And Nyx, I spoke too soon. Juggernaut going down. They're gonna push in top lane. Guys, Rax and GG. Seriously, let's go game 2. I don't have a co-caster right now. I need time to rest. I need stuff to talk about, and right now there isn't too much to talk about. Too much left to note on. You didn't get farming the Juggernaut in the early game. There are the GGs. GGs being thrown out by Orb Walkers. And the Radiant falls. So guys, this has been game 1 of Orb Walkers versus Torque. And you've been listening to Chicago Ted with Statsman Sir Rabbit Koala dropping up the pop-up stats. Game 2 coming up next.